my pleasure to welcome you all to today's webinar with the topic being smarter hospitals and how we can leverage AI to strengthen workflows and skills and communications. And today's agenda, just to give you a quick overview of what we're going to focus on today. So we'll start with a quick introduction and we'll keep that short and sweet, just about who we are as an organization. And then the main focus of today will be three key challenges that we identified in hospitals in equipping the staff with the right skills and knowledge and the tools to address these challenges as well. And then we can have a quick peek as well into some of the custom developments that we've made in the space as well. And a short peek as well into some prototypes of some AI-enabled tools that can be used in hospitals too. Right. And I'll start with a quick overview. As I said, I keep this short and sweet, but so we as Blue Elephant Solutions, we are a Singapore-based organization with focus on AI enablement and building learning and knowledge management platforms, and combine the AI with features and methodologies like hyper-personalization, gamification, microlearning, and space learning. And we do offer a range of off-the-shelf tools, which are readily available, so plug and play, so to say. And we also build completely customized solutions based on specific requirements, whether that's learning oriented or whether that's more AI enablement related in general. That's something we focus on too. And you can see some of the clients here that we work with, both in Asia, but also in Europe. So here in Singapore, the SIT, the Singapore Institute of Technology, is a big client of ours. It's a big university here, and for them we've built multiple platforms. You can also see Siemens Healthineers, a big provider of medical devices, and we work with them in the EMEA region with the EMEA team. And two more that you see here are the KMD and DUU, which are actually hospitals in Germany that we've worked with as well and that use some of our solutions. And today we will dive a bit deeper into our experience specifically in the healthcare space and how some of our tools are being already used or can be used in a hospital environment. And through working with our clients, we have seen three key challenges in the healthcare space, which will take the main focus of today, as I said, on the agenda. We will dive into them, each one of them, a little bit deeper. And yeah, without further ado, let's start up. And the challenges in equipping hospital staff with the right skills and knowledge. And the first big challenge that we see on a regular is the difficulty to fit effective training into the schedules of busy hospital staff. That's the first challenge. Again, we'll dive into that a little bit later on why that is and how we can fix that. The second one is providing a safe environment to practice patient communication. And the third one is making important information quickly accessible. So these are the three key challenges we're going to focus on today, and we look into each one of them and how we're going to address them. So let's start with the first one, the difficulty to fit effective training to the schedules of busy hospital staff. And training in hospitals isn't just, as maybe in some other organizations, a compliance formality. It's really a critical enabler of safety, of consistency, of quality and performance. So the staff really must be equipped to follow clinical protocols with precision, of course, navigate evolving operational procedures, use equipment correctly as well, maintain infection or hygiene control standards, and really meet strict regulatory guidelines as well. So it's an environment where a knowledge gap isn't just like an inconvenience. It's not just about me maybe not hitting a revenue KPI for the month. It's really a risk. A knowledge gap in a hospital environment is a risk. So mistakes really can, mistakes really can compromise patient safety. They can reduce care quality, of course, and they can ultimately even result in regulatory consequences, right? So despite the importance of it, though, it's especially due to the nature of the environment, very difficult and very challenging to schedule or deliver trainings that are both effective and feasible at the same time. And We look into what makes an effective training as well. But the reason for that is simply, as I just said, the nature of the environment. So it's usually, of course, in a hospital, it needs to be running 24/7. So you have a lot of staff that's naturally, of course, busy, but also on shift-based schedules, right? It's very difficult and very challenging to get a group of people centralized the same time, the same place to deliver a training in the first place. That's the first major challenge already. The next one is people need to be mobile. They have limited desk space, limited access to desks. Maybe in a ward you have, I don't know, maybe one desk for the whole ward and everyone needs to share that, like one access to a computer. People need to be mobile. So that's the next problem that we're facing. And the third one, and that's where we come in a little bit with what makes the training actually effective as well. We need to have structured reinforcement as well. It's not enough to just go through a training once. So once I've maybe overcome these challenges in the first place, the next step will be having reinforcements as well. I can't just have one training session and expect everyone to walk away from it fully equipped with the skills and knowledge that they need, right? And in order to tackle these things, we've built an app that you can see here, which is called Knowledge Gym. So let's look a little bit deeper into how it addresses these challenges. So the first thing, as you can see in the screenshot here, it's a mobile front end, right? So while the backend for the admins, for the managers is still desktop-based, the front end is mobile. So immediately we have a much higher level of flexibility. We don't need people to log into a desktop somewhere. They don't need a desk space. They don't need to share one. We don't need to schedule specific timings for specific people to get access to one or two desktops in the ward, right? So the mobile front end straight away takes off that complication, or at least very much lightens that. The next part, Knowledge Gym uses a microlearning method, microlearning delivery method. So that means apologies for that. So that means it's time efficient, right? So you can see actually on the screen here, the way training is delivered here is in a micro format in terms of Q&A. So it's a question and answer based delivery approach, which means at the same time, it's only a few minutes at a time and it's actually interactive as well. So I don't need to just read through something and don't just need to rewatch something. I'm actually engaged. I'm doing something, I'm making a decision. The knowledge, the information that I have, I actually apply that in a Q&A format. But I can do that a few minutes at a time. So immediately that's way more time efficient too. Then the next point, we can have asynchronous access, right? So I pointed out earlier, one of the major challenges, because we have the shift-based work and people are very busy, even more so than in other types of industries. People can access Knowledge Gym at their own time. At their own time, when they've got a few minutes at a time, they can just access that. They don't need to do that centralized because they can just use a mobile device to do that. So that again avoids scheduling complications massively. And even if we don't have time to do that within the premises of the hospital necessarily, I can still do it on the way home, for example. I can be on the train ride, bus ride home. I can still do that for a few minutes a day. So very, very important part here, the asynchronous access as well. And what Knowledge Gym does too, and we again get to the point of what makes learning effective and what has the structured recap, structured repetition. That's what spaced learning does. It enhances knowledge retention. So spaced learning is actually a proven education method that counters on natural forgetting curve. So when we go to a training, we have a training session and we leave after that, it takes about 5 days until we forget roughly 70% of what we've just learned. And you fast forward a month, it's about 90%. And spaced learning is a proven method that counters that. So, and what it does is it helps you re-engage with key aspects, key concepts of the training, spaced out over specific intervals over time. And that's what Knowledge Gym does. So you don't have to recap a whole training session. You can do short bursts, bite-sized, before you forget in certain intervals. And if you're now thinking, where does the AI come into play? Because this is a webinar that was focusing on how does AI enhance knowledge and skills and streams workflows for hospital stuff. The AI here is an algorithm that we've built, and it personalizes the spaced learning for every individual user of this app. So it's actually a hyper-personalization, not just a personalization. So whereas spaced learning might traditionally work in a way where you have set intervals when you need to repeat something, the AI here, or the algorithm, allows that to be personalized, and it detects for every individual on this app how fast do they forget something, and which aspects of the training do they forget, and when is the optimal time for each individual to go through a repetition cycle, and what key aspects do they need to repeat. And it does that automatically, and it continuously adjusts for every individual on this app. So again, it's not just more effective because it caters to how fast I personally forget things and which parts of the training I personally need to repeat at each cycle. It also makes it way more time efficient because I don't need to go through predetermined repetition cycles if I still remember, right? So the app determines or calculates how fast do I forget personally. It constantly adjusts that and gives me a repetition for a specific key aspect of the training when it's time for me to repeat. So it's more effective and more time efficient that way. And you can see here on the slide, it's got a great variety of use cases that you can use for, simply because it allows you to put your own content into the platform. 1 second. So it allows you to put your own content into the platform. Where you see images here in the screen grab, you can actually also embed a video. You can put slides in, documents as well that you can use and have access to inside this app. And you can really structure it in a way that you want to use it for. So whether that's your operational stuff, whether that's housekeeping, whether that's cleaning, security, reception, anything like that, or also your medical stuff. You want to train nurses or doctors. Of course, maybe not on the hands-on training operational approach, but in terms of decision making, just having knowledge there when you need it, having a quick thinking approach. That's very much exactly what's facilitated through Knowledge Gym. And that's actually a tool that's already in use in hospitals. So we've seen it in use in DU and KMD. As I said earlier, it's 2 hospitals in Germany, and they've already used this tool to train their teams as well. Right, so the next point that we want to look into while we're on the topic of training and practicing is the communication aspect of things. So let's have a look into that one a little bit deeper as well. Because in hospitals, right, communication isn't just a normal soft skill. It's really a very critical function as well of daily care, of coordination, collaboration with other teams maybe, and really overall also the patient experience with direct contact to the patient. So staff needs to be able to communicate and deliver sensitive updates to patients or to their relatives, for example. They need to be able to navigate emotionally charged conversations. They might have to de-escalate sometimes, hopefully not too often, but of course that might be possible too. And really also, again, with other teams, other colleagues, maybe collaborate under pressure and make quick decisions as well and communicate them. And the problem is that the very effective way to do that is by practicing through a role play. But role play, again, will face the same problems that we just talked about in the previous challenge, right? It's scheduling, it's getting everyone together. It's very resource heavy to have an in-person role play, very resource heavy in terms of time, in terms of scheduling as well. And here, the additional layer of challenge is probably also you only have so many people that are able to deliver this kind of training. So you have a limited number of lecturers maybe that can facilitate role play, or you have, again, to spend a little bit more money and get people in to do that. So in reality, while that's very effective, a lot of people still maybe go through a role play once, but then do most of the learning on the job. And that's very, that's very challenging, because if I don't have built up my my routines to go through maybe, and that confidence to communicate certain things in certain contexts, that's challenging for me to do. And what we've built is an app that's called AI Conversation Coach that helps you with that. So how does it do that? Essentially, it's a role play with an AI counterpart, right? So you can build your own custom scenario. You can build your complete own conversation. You can build your own AI persona, assign a role to it. Let's say it should be a patient, for example. You assign a role to the learner, whether that's a nurse, a doctor, a receptionist, maybe. And then you can build your scenario. You can have it be about giving diagnoses to patients. You can have it be about addressing parents' concerns, patients' concerns, their families' concerns as well. And then the AI will take you through that role play. Based on the outlines that you give, it creates this kind of scenario, and you can practice that. You don't need to do any scripting. The AI does that for you. And you can see here actually in this screen grab as well, it can be animated too, so you can just actually upload a picture, and then this picture gets animated and actually speaks to you as well. So it's very immersive too. And you have really free reign of how you want to create a persona, which characteristics it should have as well, whether it's maybe nervous, whether it's impatient, really a lot of things that you can do. You have pretty much free reign with that. And again, what you can see here is the mobile front end, which again, for the same reasons as we just discussed previously, gives you this type of flexibility that's very, very useful in a hospital environment as well. And of course, it also enables you with the asynchronous access as well, same way as Knowledge Gym did that too. You can actually also see here in the screen grab, you can have multiple personas for specific scenarios. So in this example here, it's a nurse-patient interaction focus, and then you can create multiple patients. They all maybe have different characteristics. They have different problems, different contexts to deal with. So very practical to get accustomed and building confidence in navigating different situations really. And because again, you have this full reign of which type of context you want to give, how you want to outline your conversation and build your persona, you can use it for a great variety of use cases. You can train your medical staff, like your nurses and doctors, of course, but also again, operational stuff, like receptionists. So anything where you have contact, regular conversations, communication with patients or families or visitors in general, or team leads as well, or anything inside your teams or interdepartmental as well, whether that's, for example, collaborating on things, conveying information properly within departments, but also maybe from a team lead perspective, feedback maybe to your teams, basically. While this one is not really yet fully rolled out in a hospital, we're actually in touch or in discussions about doing so with a higher education institution that focuses specifically on nursing education. So they want to use that for training their nurses on navigating certain conversations as well. And we're actually in touch with, or in discussion more so, with a national level public healthcare institution as well in Europe. And they actually looking into rolling this out nationwide for all their doctors and all their nurses to really practice and enhance their patient communication too. So again, if you have access to in-person role play, it's definitely worth pursuing that. It shouldn't necessarily completely be neglected, but this is a super good tool to supplement that. You can have your in-person role play, for example, but then still practice further in your own time, a few minutes at a time, and just build up that confidence, which is really crucial in navigating conversations. Or if you don't have access to in-person role play, this is also a really good tool to use instead to really practice on navigating a variety of specific contexts that you might face in your hospital scenarios. Right. And the third one we're going to look into today from these 3 key challenges is making important information accessible and doing so quickly, right? That's the key part of it. Because in the reality of a hospital, right, staff will always, or at least very frequently, encounter tasks or situations where they need to think quick, they need to react quick, they need to be able to make decisions quickly. And of course, ideally, we have everything in our head, right? We've gone through all the trainings, we know what we need to do, but in reality, there's so much, and maybe I just want to double check as well. Maybe I just want to be really, really sure I'm doing the right thing here. So I need to be able to access information when I need it, and I need to be able to do so quickly. And the challenge in hospitals, again, is there's an overlap between what we discussed earlier in terms of the challenge of the desk space, for example, right? I need to probably remain mobile in a hospital as well and available. The reality is that searching for information disrupts workflows, especially when I need to dig through files on a computer, maybe even paper files still. That's time that I'm drawn off the floor, and I can't attend to my actual tasks in the hospital as well. And time lost hunting for information actually, of course, in a hospital environment carries way higher stakes than it might do in some other industries. And there's actually a very interesting stat on this as well, which is not exclusive to healthcare, but across all industries. Yeah, very interesting, I think, that we spend about, on average, 20% of our working time only searching for information that we need in order to perform our jobs. And again, the stakes are very much higher in hospital surroundings. So 20% is a lot of time. If we can just dial that down, there's a lot of upside to that. So how do we do that? We build a tool that's called AI Knowledge Assistant. And the AI Knowledge Assistant does the following. So it's a quick way to access via an AI chat your own organization-specific knowledge, device-specific knowledge, medical devices, equipment, for example. And the way it does that, you can basically envision this a little bit like your own personalized ChatGPT in a sense, just that ChatGPT has a lot of general knowledge. And this one actually has knowledge that's really specific to your use cases and to your organization, to your products, to your devices. And the way it does that is you can build in the backend your own knowledge bases. You can do that by uploading documents, for example, but you can also connect the website. You can also connect tools like a shared drive, Google Drive, for example, or Notion. You can connect these, and these will build a knowledge base. And when you then chat with AI and ask questions in the AI chat, the AI will take the information directly from these sources that you've given it, directly from these knowledge bases. So that ensures that the answers that you're getting from AI are actually in line with your specific use case and with, for example, the guidelines that you need to adhere to in your hospital. Not in general, but really specific to your hospital. And again, you see a bit of a trend here. In order to keep things mobile, we've designed this as a mobile app, which you see here on the screen. But you can also use it as a web app, and you can also embed it in a website. In your internal intranet page, for example, you could embed this too. And what's really cool is you can see that in the screenshot here. So we have an example of asking a question and we're getting an answer from the AI. And you can actually still, if you then want to still double check the correctness of it, you see this little information button on the right side here. And you can open the source that the AI uses. So if you have a document, for example, it will show you which passages of the document have been used to craft the answer for the AI. So it's another safety net, another layer of making sure the answer that I'm getting is actually correct in my context too. And quickly change to the next page as well. You can actually also access the full complete document if you still want to do that. So you see a screen grab on the right side here, where you see the inside of one of the knowledge bases. In this case, there's 2 documents in here, and you can still open each one of these documents completely as well, and have insight into that too. So you can still do it the traditional way in that sense and look it up that way, but you can save a lot of time by just asking AI, and AI will derive the information from that knowledge base. And again, because the way we've set up things, you can build your own knowledge base using your own documents, connect your own websites as well. You have a very, very broad variety of use cases that are possible. So whether that's technical specifications that help me to troubleshoot, for example, equipment, and I need to do that quickly and on the fly. It can be protocols, guidelines, SOPs, for example. And you just see a few of the examples that are possible here. Again, really purely examples. It's completely up to you what you want to use this for. But for example, safety and hygiene standards, machine or equipment troubleshooting as well, patient care, general protocols and guidelines within your hospital. So each one of these in this screenshot here is a separate knowledge base. And from this, you can get the specific information specific to this topic and specific to this topic in the context of your hospital too. And that's another tool that's already being in use by a hospital, by the KMD hospital in Germany. Right. So this part concludes our look into the three main challenges of hospitals that we've encountered when it comes to equipping staff with the necessary knowledge and skills as well. So at this point, I would go to some of the custom designs that we've built, some of the custom platforms that we've built specifically also, of course, for the healthcare space. So the first one that you see here is actually a learning game. So again, about learning and facilitating or delivering training in an effective and efficient way. And this one is a learning game that's geared on evidence-based practice. It's something that's being used for one of our higher education clients. And the challenge was enhancing the engagement levels of learners, right, for evidence-based practice. And what we've come up with is a game-based design. So it's a learning tool that simulates clinical decision-making and promotes evidence-based practice application in nursing education through taking learners through gamified learning quests that then simulate the entire EBP approach. So the idea is really to make it more engaging, make it more interactive, which means learning doesn't so much feel like a tiresome task that I need to do, but it's interesting to me, it's exciting for me, it's more fun, and I learn better in a way because it's interactive and I need to actually apply things. I need to actually apply my knowledge and the information that I have to a practical case. The next one I briefly want to showcase is one that we've built or developed further for electronic health records interpretation. So this one was really about helping nursing students to read and interpret electronic patient records correctly. And you can see that here, we've built this a while back. It's actually a redevelopment of a basic version of this that was available and it needed to be scaled up and made more stable. So we've given this a lot of improvements, and an instructor can basically upload or assign cases, patient records, and the students in the front end can then online examine them and see what's the necessary information, what's crucial here, what's less important, and mark these things. And then instructors in the back can actually give feedback on that and also give feedback to notes that students might have given them. So again, interactive and a very practical oriented in order to how do I apply my knowledge practically and practice that in a safe environment. And for the last few minutes, maybe just a few examples of some selected prototypes as well. It's really just a selection. There's many more of these, but some AI-enabled hospital tools. So the first one that you see here is the first two screens, which is an Allergen tray scanner. So you can actually take a picture of a hospital meal, which might look a bit different than this one, even though I probably wouldn't say no to this if I'm getting this in a hospital, but it's of course just an example picture. And you can take a picture of it and describe a dietary restriction or an allergy of the patient, as you can see here on the left side. And then as an output, you get an analysis of what the AI sees in the picture. It analyzes that and it gives you a warning. So in this case, about the potatoes, high carbohydrates will raise the blood sugar, the toast as well. So it analyzes the image and it gives you an output. So it's an additional safety net. It's very quickly done, very practical to do. You just take a quick picture and you get a quick feedback from the AI, just making sure that you haven't overseen anything and it's safe to give to the patient. Another one that's a bit more, again, probably studying or learning oriented in the healthcare space is a surgical procedure visualizer that you can see here. And you can just describe a surgical procedure in here. So in this case, it's an appendectomy, for example, and click on this button, and then the AI will generate a step-by-step guide through a procedure like that. So it's almost like you're looking over the shoulder of an experienced surgeon that guides you through step-by-step of what's happening, basically, and what you need to look out for, what the next steps are, and why they are important. So yeah, really practical if you're curious to learn about new things or need to familiarize yourself with certain procedures, to just do that on the fly as well. And On the right side here, you see another practical one for the hospital environment, the handoff synthesizer. I need to be very careful. I always want to say sanitizer. The handoff synthesizer. So this is about giving your protocol at the end of your shift, basically, to the next shift starting. And you can just dictate this into this app. And the AI will then take your input and create a handoff report, and it will do that in the SBAR format. That's the standard, or one of the standard formats that's being used in hospitals for these protocols. So really practical. You can just dictate it in there, and the AI does pretty much all the work for you as well very quickly. And the last one, quickly just to show, is another learning game, which confronts you with a mass casual incident in this case. And basically, you are one of the first responders, or you're not actually a first responder necessarily, you're in the hospital and all the patients come in. And you get a few patients, you get one every few seconds. You see a timer here on the right side too. Every couple of seconds, you get a new incoming patient with different symptoms, and then you need to decide what you do with them, right? And you need to do that quickly because you have a count here. You need to treat them. You need to be able to, they're all unstable when they came in. You need to be able to get them stabilized, avoid them getting into a critical state, of course. You've got some in your supply closet here, some things you can administer, and then you need to decide, do you put them into the ER? Do you need to put them into the operating room, and so on? And you need to do that quickly. So it's again about this quick analysis, quick diagnosis, what do I do, and quick decision making of how to attend to patients, basically. That's the last one of the prototypes. Again, it's a selection just to show you a little bit of what else we're doing. But yeah, that's just a quick insight for that one. And yeah, with that one, I'd like to conclude today's session. Thanks for your attention as well. You can reach out to us, of course. Probably quickly put my personal email address into the chat as well. 1 second. There we are. So if you want to reach out to me directly, you can do that as well. But our general email address, contact@blueelephantSolutions.com, and you can find out more about us on the website as well. Yeah, thanks for joining today. And at this point, happy to address any questions. We've run a little bit over, but yeah, if you have any questions, of course, I'm happy to take a few minutes as well and address them too. Thanks for your attention.